Each hand to me as if to say, hey boy, it's waiting there for you. It's gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa. Gonna take some time to do the things we never had. Ooh. And there's our opener. I'm in college now. I'm no longer at home anymore. I've gone abroad. I'm a whole 5 hours away from home now, and I'm attending college for film studies. And even though I am a huge film nerd, there's a ton of movies I haven't seen, even big landmark films. So I've decided, since I'm here learning about movies constantly, that other than the movies that they show in class, I should be watching more movies on my own. I've decided to maybe do this monthly thing where I go over and do short reviews of the movies I've seen within that time frame. In the month-ish I've been here, I've seen 13 new movies that I hadn't seen before, and 6 TV shows here and there. And in an effort to let you see my new room if you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me, the link's below. I'm gonna be switching camera angles every few movies, so you get a decent semblance of what my living situation is now. With that being said, alright. So I figured I'll go through and I'll rank my least favorite to favorite movies first, then TV shows. But this first one that I saw is kind of completely devoid of ranking because it's really just a genre of one. First new film I saw is called Freaks, came out in the 1920s or 30s, considered to be one of the first horror movies ever made. It's only an hour long, you can probably find it on YouTube if it's not been taken over by censor bots or whatever, because it's horribly insensitive today, and it's really only quote-unquote scary for about the last 5 minutes and it's cut short, but it was certainly an interesting thing to take in. Now, getting into the actual list. Number 12, and technically what you would consider to be the worst movie I've seen in the past month, is Tangerine. The whole thing was shot on an iPhone, and the cinematography really stands out as being probably the best part of the whole movie. The color composition and the grittiness makes it all seem like it's almost shot on 16mm. It looks pretty nice. I just don't really care for the story. That being said, most of the actors portray their roles as if they're not even trying. They don't seem like actors, they just seem like people doing their thing. Next up we have The Witch. This is the last one I saw, and boy was it overhyped. I've heard from tons and tons of people that it's a new horror classic, and it's incredible, and it's super underrated. I can't agree. It's mostly just boring. That being said, again, like Tangerine, the performances in it were unreal. Unreal in the fact that they felt so real that there was never a moment that I questioned that these were people acting. They just felt like people. The father's performance in particular is one of the best I've ever seen. But that doesn't mean I really enjoyed the movie. I'm glad I watched it, and it had its moments of enjoyment, but Next up, we have the classic, The Exorcist. Like The Witch, it had quite a few moments that I enjoyed, a lot more than The Witch, but you could have cut out a good half hour of this movie, and you would have had a much better experience. It's a classic example of something taking a lot of its time to build up something at the end. And I'm fine with those kind of movies, but there was so much unnecessary information in this thing that you really, really didn't need to see. There were some characters that could have been completely written out and nothing would have been changed about the movie. Again, glad I saw it, but I don't know if I'd watch it again. Next up, we got Annihilation. This film had a lot of really creative ideas, but it's kind of bland. The world it creates is super interesting, and all of the things involving the alien are really, really incredible. The film poses a lot of philosophical questions, and it makes it really interesting to watch. And the final half hour is something I've never really experienced in any other movie, and it has one of the most unique alien designs I've ever seen. The only problem with this movie is that some of the color palette can be a little bland at times when you're not inside the shimmer, the alien's world. And the performances. Most of the performances are really, really, really dull. The only character I ever really sympathized with was Tessa Thompson's character, and she was only in it every now and then. But the film had some really, really incredible sequences in it, and I'd recommend it, I guess. It was certainly worth my time. Following that up, we have the classic Blade Runner with some of the best production design I have ever seen. It feels a little heady, and the story is kind of nonsensical at some points, but the production design and the world building is mind-boggling. The writing is not that great, though, and some of the character interactions are straight up creepy or terrible in ways that they should not be. But there was enough interesting bits of it that I was able to keep my attention through most of it. Another sci-fi movie, District 9, the first movie I've ever seen by Neil Blomkamp. Some of the effects in it are kinda iffy today, but it doesn't matter. It's held together by a really interesting story, and when you keep in mind that the movie was made for only $30 million, and it looks like something made for around $200 million, that just blows the effects out of the water. This movie probably should be higher up on my list, but some part of it just didn't connect with me all that much. That being said, I did really enjoy it, and I'll probably watch it again someday in the future. I just don't know when. Hero was the first wuxia film I've ever seen, and it's really something else. Mad Max Fury Road is a masterpiece in action. I legitimately have no idea how they did half the things they did in that movie. And with a lot of it being practical effects, I can do nothing but adore it. The story had its weak points every now and then, but it didn't matter because of what a visual feast it was. And Tom Hardy did a great job, everybody did a great job. It's really, really something, you should totally look into it. Sorry to Bother You is a fun little movie that I really, really enjoyed. The social and political commentary was super on the nose, but it portrayed it in a very enjoyable way, so I had no problem with it whatsoever. It is an acid trip of a movie every now and then, and I loved every second of it. And when it's not being an acid trip, it's being pretty genuine and trying to tell you something. It has a good heart, even if it is motivated by corporate greed. Philadelphia really, really got to me. It hit every single beat that I thought it would, yet at the same time it did something that no other film ever has for me. It reawakened fears and memories that I had long tried to push down or forget, and it just brought them to the forefront, and I broke down. It was a genuinely painful experience by the ending, but I loved it. The movie was really good. Tom Hanks killed it. I don't know when I'll be able to watch it again because I know I'll fall into that pit again. It was a very interesting feeling and a really good movie that I highly recommend. This movie made me want to puke out of sadness by the ending. As for my favorite movie I've seen within the last month, well, goes to a little film called Hereditary. This movie is so good, man. The cinematography is something else. There were moments throughout the whole movie that truly made me upset and scared, and a lot of horror movies don't do that for me. It was all the little things that held it together, the little details and stuff. I don't want to spoil anything about it, because that's how good it was. Go into it absolutely blank. If you see the poster, you'll be fine, because it's right here. Go into it blank, and you'll be amazed. That's what I think, at least. Toni Collette and Alex Wolff carry this whole movie. Or no, they don't even carry the whole movie. They're just a small part of this huge, amazing puzzle. All of the themes hidden within the miniatures that are throughout the whole movie are fantastic. And by the ending, within the last 5 minutes, I was smiling and laughing like an idiot when the credits came on. And that never happens. I was amazed by this movie, and it's probably gonna be one of my favorites. Ever. I can't recommend it enough, dude. It's so good. I've never seen another horror movie like it, and I can recommend it to absolutely no end. That gimmick got way too old, way too fast. I'll just do the TV shows from here. The worst thing I saw this month, without a doubt, was the pilot episode of The Haunting of Hill House. Nothing held my interest, and it was a waste of 45 minutes. After that, we got the pilot episode of True Detective. I usually love Woody Harrelson, and Matthew McConaughey is kinda hit or miss for me. That being said, their performances just felt kinda hollow. Not only that, but it copies a lot of elements from another show that I'm gonna mention in a minute, and since I watched them so close back to back with each other, then True Detective just kinda lost its meaning. That doesn't mean I might not watch some more of it, but it didn't really pique my interest all too much. Recently I had the opportunity to meet Beau Willimon, the writer and creator of House of Cards. And since I'd never seen any of the series, I watched the first season as preparation. It was alright, there were some really amazing moments in it, but I don't know if I'll watch any more than the first season. It definitely piqued my interest, but I don't know, it just didn't really speak to me all that much. However, meeting Beau Willimon, an Oscar nominee, was probably a once-in-a-lifetime experience, so that was pretty cool. Recently, I've also started watching Hannibal, and it's absolutely incredible. The interesting ideas that it has, and the really solid acting, is pretty well watchable, and I'll probably continue to watch it. I've also started watching Westworld. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but I can guarantee I'm going to keep watching because it's really, really good. And I can now also confirm that Evan Rachel Wood is a real cutie, so that's a good reason to keep watching it just for that. And number 1, I've watched the 2nd season of The West Wing, and it is something else. Though I haven't finished the entire 2nd season, I'm confident in saying that it's probably one of my favorite TV shows of all time. I don't know if it'd be for everyone, but the writing is incredible, and it just makes me like Aaron Sorkin even more. Thank you all for watching. I'm sure I'm going to do a few more of these in the future, and I've got some video essays and some other things coming up, so I hope you stick around. Y'all have a good night, and take care.